My name is EJ. Okay, I know Eric may have told you a little bit about me. I'm not really going to go through a long introduction or anything of sort, just because right now it's not about me. It's about you guys. Every day, I should say, is about you guys. You guys are all here because you're part of Project Pro. Understand that one of the objective words, or there are two objective words, is why Eric chose that name, Project. Okay, we are all our own project, and Pro because that's where we're looking to take it. Okay, and when I say Pro, it's not just professionally in the sense of playing in the show, but being your own professional, being your biggest hero. Okay, transforming yourself, transcending to become the best version that you can be, professionally, personally. All right, so I do the same thing with every day. When I wake, I want to make sure that everything's fully functioning or functional. And when I say functional, I need to find out what do I need to do, okay? What function am I trying to find, all right? In this case, for you guys, I'll answer that question. The function, become the best hockey player you can be. But part of that equation to become the best hockey player you can be is to make sure that you are the best mover, because what is hockey? What's one of the requirements in hockey? Speed, okay? But before that, movement. We got to be able to move, right? Imagine you had a bum knee or a bum ankle, all right? When I say bum ankle, particularly, let's say you didn't have the necessary function to perform your proper skate pattern. How are you supposed to be fast, right? It's like being fast on a gimp leg, right? So let's say you had issues with your shoulder. How are you expecting to play with confidence, right? How are you expecting to move across that ice with that smooth ease and efficiency? All right, so it's all about being the best mover you can be. So making sure that we can avoid any kind of issues, any kind of soft tissue issues, any kind of joint issues. All right, so making sure that we got clean movement. We have an awesome, what I like to call an awesome road to success. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand out some forms here. I'm going to hand out some sheets along with some pens. It's going to give you guys a little more details to what's about to happen. Okay, this is basically an assessment. I'm running diagnostics. I'm running tests to see how well you move, okay? For example, I've had individuals who've come to me before and they say, EJ, I want a strength training program, or I need a program. I'm a professional football player, a rugby player. I'm like, all right, cool. Individual comes to me and they go to perform an exercise trying to put their arm over the head, and bang, this is the only range that they have, right? And I think to myself, what sense does it make for me to give them an overhead pressing exercise? Imagine having to pick a weight up and then press it over the head, but your range is limited and you're getting here and you might even have some pain symptoms. But on the sheet it says do an overhead press. That workout's not for you, okay? What we want to do is address problems and regress the exercise, so scale it down to the point that you can perform it without any problems. But meanwhile, while we scale down the movement, we're still having ideas of fixing, or not ideas, but we still have plans on fixing whatever problem there is so that you can get to performing the overhead press. As an example, okay, not saying the overhead press is going to make you guys the best hockey player there is, right? But it's about finding what's going on, what's glued together, let's unglue it and let's get moving with purpose. Okay, so this basically, the focus is, I'm going to be assessing your joint integrity. How well do you move, all right? With these findings, I'm using this as a baseline. So this is going to help me go back into the lab, okay, sit down with Coach Eric, and we're going to talk about what he's seen on the ice and what I've seen. You can pick that up. And see what he's seen on the ice and what I've seen with the testing, so we can realize what we need to do individually for each one of you guys as individuals to make sure that we're addressing the problem. Because you might have an ankle issue, you might have a back issue, you might have a wrist issue, all right? But your programs are going to need to address that, all right? So if the program is just a cookie cutter, that could be a problem because it may not take care of each one of you guys, all right, as individuals. So without further ado, what's going to happen here? I'm going to need to get you guys to understand how you're going to be grading yourself, okay? So don't worry if you're like, oh crap, I don't want to grade my own performance. I'm going to be double checking your sheets. So after you give yourself a score, I'm going to ask you guys about your scores, okay? And I want to make sure that you are giving yourself the score that accords with your movement capacity, all right? So there's going to be many ways that you're going to score, or 4 ways that you can score on your performance, okay? Some exercises deal with both left and right side of the body, okay? Appendages, legs or arms or legs. Some exercises deal with just the whole body altogether. So you'll see that on the sheet as some are divvied up into left or right. Ways you can score in this test. Excuse me. If you move, okay? If you move, for example, I'm going to talk about cervical spine as a first exercise, cervical rotation, okay? So we're thinking the head of our spine or the utmost, the distal part of our spine. If I go through this exercise, this is what the exercise looks like. You're basically performing a large range circle. So you're trying to control the end range or end ranges of rotation to deal with spine health of the neck, all right? If I'm performing that exercise and there's no pain, so no pain whatsoever, and I have good range of motion as I demonstrated, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna give yourself a score of 3, all right? So that's 3. I'll repeat it again. Normal range of motion, no pain. It gives you a 3. That's the highest score, okay? 2, taking us down to the next level. If you do not have normal range of motion, so you're kind of rigid and robotic as you're going through it, but there's no pain, and you're trying to go to the end range, okay? I don't want to see someone who can do this, who's doing this, all right? I don't want to see that. I want to see try and go as far as you can under your control. And if there's no pain but bad range of motion, you're going to give yourself a 2, okay? Mind you, while you're going through these exercises, I might yell out 3, 2. I might be giving you your score. If you hear me say 4, I'm messing with you, okay? Now we take it down to 1, okay? 1, now that enters the pain category. So if I'm moving, all right, I move through this exercise. It's all right if I have great range of motion, but all of a sudden I find, I got a little bit of pain, all right? I'm moving my head to this side, so this angle is opening, okay? I'm gonna call this the opening angle. If I feel pain in the, sorry for hitting the mic. If I feel pain in the opening angle, all right, that's your 1, okay? Pain in the open angled side, that's 1. Why is that 1? It's not as bad. It's not as bad as the next one to come. That, I can fix that, all right? He can fix that. No, I'm sorry. I'll fix that. When the pain, if I'm moving my head to this side and the pain is happening on the opposite side, so the closing angle, so think of if I'm putting my arm down and this is the closing angle and I have pain inside here, that's gonna give you that 0. Sorry, I hate that number 0. You're like, oh man. It's okay if you have a 0, okay? Just mark it down, be honest. Best thing that's gonna happen, we're gonna make sure that you see your sports therapist and they work in conjunction with me to create the program that we need to in order to get you away from those pain symptoms and moving freely. Because we all know what happens when there's pain. Does anybody move into pain? No. If you're hurt somewhere, you work around it. You compensate. But when you compensate like that, the body remembers it and goes, you know what? Let's just live here. This is our new home. And then all of a sudden you're stuck like this, right? We want to make sure if there's an injury, we deal with it to set us back in a normal range so we can get you back out there training, get you back out there getting stronger, get you back out there getting faster, and then ultimately getting you to be the best player that you can be, all right? I'm going to demonstrate each one of the exercises and you guys will follow suit, all right? I'll tell you when to start and when to stop. You're going to spend time doing each one, okay? First one is the one that was in the demonstration. This one's our cervical rotations. We're assessing this part of the spine, all right? We all know that it is largely an easy capacity for us to create stiffness in this position, but what we're doing is finding out what kind of range you have through the neck because ultimately when you guys are playing, this is necessary, all right? If you're rigid through this position here or you have pain, all of a sudden you're going to try and work around it. That's going to change the way you react to your environment, all right? So not only do we need you to be able to create stiffness here to avoid head trauma, but we also need you to be able to move freely through the neck with active control, all right? So first one, I'll demonstrate, and there's parts where I'll have to keep my mouth shut. But this exercise is done with your mouth closed, teeth together. You're not clenching hard though, and your tongue is up against the roof of your mouth. Okay, there are particular reasons when I want to if I can get into science, but I'll leave that alone for now. Tongue goes to the roof of the mouth, mouth's closed, teeth are closed, okay? What you're going to do is you can think about tracing a large circle with your chin, but I want you to try, when you're grooving down, is to make sure your chin touches your clavicle, touches your collarbone, all right? So I'm going to demonstrate. Everyone see that? Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I'm going to get you to start off going clockwise. So everyone's going clockwise. Everyone get that? So show me clockwise with your hands. Start drawing the circle out in front. Okay? All right, so everyone got it clockwise, ready? You can put your sheets down if you want, you can hold them. Ready, and so come off the wall, and go. Okay, trace the circle with the chin. So lift that chin up in the air. Groove it off to the side, bring it down. Try not to shrug while you're doing the exercise. So if you're shrugging, that's a sign that your body does not want to move through the neck and that you just want to move the shoulder blades instead. Slower, that same tempo that I demonstrated before. We want to make sure this is a self-limiting exercise. If you're moving too fast, that could be a problem. And done. So with this exercise, what you're gonna do is you're gonna be sitting down on this bench. I could fold the mat up for you if you don't feel like you're strong enough. Okay, I got this. Mat goes between the legs. What you're gonna do is put your hands behind your head, okay? And you're gonna empty your pockets. No, I'm joking. I'm on a roll. Okay, what you're gonna do, put your hands behind your head. And what I'm looking for here is I want you guys to shrug up for a second. Relax. From this position, what's gonna happen now, the exercise starts, or the test starts, you're gonna challenge yourself to rotate, okay? Now when you do it, I don't want you guys to close this angle. See what's happening here? I'm pulling my shoulder blades together towards the spine, all right? So what I want, if you were to look at me from the side, you would see that my elbows are both lined up, they're parallel, all right? So hands behind the head, shoulder blades are pulled back and down. Then I twist. I feel that want to bend in order to get more range, but I don't want anybody moving in that fashion. So keep the elbows apart, boom, go as far as you can, hold, find if you're feeling any problems. So in the case where I turn this way, I'm experiencing pain here. This is closed angled pain, all right? If I'm feeling pain on the opposite side or restriction, then that's gonna be the open angled pain, all right? Insufficient range of motion will look like this. Okay, sufficient range of motion. Okay, you can almost pretty much get that elbow pointed right off to the side. So we're looking maybe 130 degrees, all right? But I'll help you guys out with determining insufficient or sufficient range of motion as I did with you with the neck, okay? So once again, sit tall, hands go behind the head. I'll get some of you guys to shrug up just to realize the tension and get rid of it because I don't want anyone shrugging the exercise. And twist. Here, the purpose of this exercise, hold on to that one. I did that one for you. Okay? We get to assess the kind of extension and rotation we get in a part of our body called the thoracic spine. Okay? That's the next column down, or the next grouping down. We have our cervical spine, then our thoracic spine. And that T-spine, short form, it plays a major, major role in you guys creating rotational power, rotational torque. That rotational torque comes from that T-spine that we're addressing here, okay? And it comes from the hips. So a lot of times we see when you're locked up in the hips and locked up in the thoracic spine, certain problems, respiratory, okay? You have a hard time getting that deep breath. You have a hard time creating rotation in this place, so your lower back starts to hurt because that's the place that gets the rotation, all right? So we want to make sure that we can be sure that, we want to make sure that we can be sure. We want to make sure that you guys are moving well, all right? Shrug up, everyone. Get tight, relax. Okay, spread those elbows. So I want you to feel like your shoulder blades are almost touching each other. Hold that, and let's all rotate. Go. Okay, other direction. Go. And pause for a second, okay? So with this exercise, what you're gonna do is set up in a quadruped position, or AKA on all fours. Your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips, okay? With this exercise, what you're gonna do is you can start off in a bowed position. When I say bow, this is what bow looks like, okay? This is not what he looks like, but this is what a bow, B-O-W, will look like. So I'm bowing, all right? Sorry if this sounds funny in the camera. Here. It's in my shirt. Okay, so from this position, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and control my pelvis. Subsequent to that, I'm gonna try and control my lumbar spine, my low spine. Then I'm gonna move up like a snake to my thoracic spine, then to my neck. And I wanna do this slowly. So this is still a great challenge for me. And I was one of those guys that was really rigid, that moved like that. When I was telling you guys about my description. So from here, I hold tension,
and then I try and tilt my hips. Then I move through my lumbar spine, through my upper spine, into the highest, most region of my spine. Okay? From this position, I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to move again for my tailbone. This time tilting it, and I move through the lower spine, thoracic, and cervical spine. Did everyone see that? Example, so you're going to go, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do light taps, okay? So my taps are going to start at your lower spine, so just where your draw cord is in your shorts, and I'm going to start to point all the way up your head, all right? So he's locked out here, he's bowed. Now what he's going to do is he's going to start by tilting, he's going to tilt his hips back, okay? Ready? Go, tilt the hips back while holding on to this. Keep that there, okay? Tilt this back, so up in the air, all right? So remember, you want to stick your butt back and out, all right? So hold on to this. There you go. So he's slowly moving through his spine. Then he'll pull the shoulder blades together. Then the head comes up, all right? So while he's here, now he's got to tuck the tailbone. He's got to push it through the door, okay? Tuck the tailbone while holding on to all this. Keep your head up. Go, try and tuck your tailbone. Good. Keep it up. Good, keep the head there, keep the head up. All right, now slowly move through. Yeah, push through the ground. Okay, so that's actually pretty good, all right? So that's pretty good. So I'm going to challenge you guys to go through it again.